Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk about something other than gaming, exactly, and Destiny and shit. And I want to talk about value and the perception of it, and how a lot of shit is how much you are willing to pay for it is how much something's really worth. And this is just me venting or just letting off some thoughts right now into the ether. And what I mean by this is let's take video games for an example. When a game drops brand new at a retail store, it's $60. You can get them on sale. I think Halo 5's like on $5 off, $10 off right now. If you buy it like online or something, you can get it, or a gift card with it or something like that anyways. So right off the bat, boom, you can find the game a lot cheaper than $60, and then boom, now that game's worth $60 on the open market. But if you get some type of deal now, it's a $50 product because of a deal. Then if you wait months later, then the price goes down just in general. And if you get the hookup from a game, say you know a mom and pop store that sells it early, it's still $60. But now you're getting the game early, and you are willing to spend that time hunting down that mom and pop store to find it. And so it's still worth the same value, but now you're getting early, which would increase the value, because if you could like sell that game to someone else, you could probably find somebody who's willing to pay for more for it, because perception is the value of it, is they perceive the game to be newer than everybody else is playing it, because nobody's playing it. You got a couple days advantage on them. And so that would make the game valued more. And so this kind of piggybacks off of Scanner Barkley's recent video where he talked about how he talked about Star Wars Battlefront, and it was more of a relation to Battlefield Hardline, how people were thinking that people were going to go back to Hardline once DLC dropped to the game, and I was like, and his point was nobody's going to go back to Hardline because they don't like the core mechanics of Hardline. So the content isn't the issue, it's the core mechanics of the game. That's also what's keeping Destiny alive right now. Is the core mechanics of the game were decent enough that when more content was added, it was able to continue to survive and grow, opposed to a game like Hardline, which the core mechanics of the game were meh, and so even when you add more content, it'll die. And so his point was that the perception of value in a DLC is also hinges upon the core mechanics of the game. And truer shit has never been said. I think it works like even in like a game like Battlefield 3, where I played on the console on Armored Kill DLC, so the perception of the value was just trash because it was unplayable. But something more playable like Aftermath DLC was worth a shit ton more money because I spent way more time into it, because it capitalized on the core mechanics of the game that were working. And so that's just something really interesting. And so that would make something like House of Wolves, where the core mechanics of the game, how you fight Skolas and the Prison Elders, how it sucked balls in the end, how something like that hinged upon the core mechanics of shitty boss fights that were already in the game that they were fucking like still trying to use, and that fucking made the DLC worth less money, opposed to something like the Oryx raid right now, which is like almost, is worth a good chunk of money by itself, because it hinged upon some dude there who made the Vault of Glass with the core mechanics of Vault of Glass. Their brain fucking somehow overpowered the dumbasses at Bungie, and were able to pump out another DLC worth the actual money. So the core mechanic that gave it value was already in the game, was the guy who was fucking designing Vault of Glass and shit. So that's how that shit works. Then I had somewhere slightly off topic, as a car goes by really loudly. I'm done. Yeah, but anyway, so, and then capitalism skews the perception. And what that means is advertising. And so something like a pair of shoes by Nike it retails for fucking, dudes were talking about it at work the other day, like how someone was trying to sell shoes for $600. When in all actuality, the material used to make it and shit like that is like $20 total. So that's a huge markup. That's all advertisement and branding and logos and perception of coolness, when in all actuality, if you take off the logo of the shoe, the value is literally what it costs to make it, but you're willing to pay more for it, thus making it worth more. This is just kind of my thoughts on it, that fucking perception controls the value of something. So this is Big Gangster 7. I don't want this going too long, but let me know your thoughts on if you ever thought of it like that, and if you got something to school me on, let me know your thoughts. I always thought this was really cool. I knew about this in the real world, but I couldn't figure out what made it work in video game the way they did. And Instant Scanner like explained it, like how the core mechanics of the game actually give the DLC value, opposed to the DLC bringing more value to the actual game, was fucking like just blew my mind. I was like, I never thought of it like that. So opening your brain sometimes, man, I fucking I'm about to turn my channel into a big dick riding session of people you should check out also. This is Gangster 7.